programs, our bulletins, and we applaud at certain times, and we leave somehow thinking that as the fans, it was all done for us. We get in the car, if you drove here, we get in the car, we evaluate the sermon. Do you do that? I don't know if you do that, actually. I kind of do that. I get in the car, I'm like, how did I go today? Well, I think it went all right. I don't know. Let's see. Courtney and I usually drive separately, so I'm kind of just having a conversation with nobody. But in that moment, I'm like, yeah, Josh, you did good. We're talking back and forth, and something turns out okay. But then I get home. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So you're big fans of Jesus. And being a fan really feels pretty good. We can be pretty good about ourselves because we're these great admirers of Christ. But he never cared about having fans. So if we'll be honest with ourselves, if we'll really search our hearts and begin to define a relationship with Jesus, there are 3 questions to answer this morning. And the first is number 1, why are you here? Why are you here today? If you read through the Gospels, Jesus, at different points in his ministry, would draw a line in the sand. And he would separate the fans and the followers. One such instance comes in John chapter 6. So if you have your Bibles, turn your Bibles to John chapter 6. John chapter 6. All right. John chapter 6. This is a famous story. Jesus feeds the 5,000. Jesus, in this story, is in the height of his ministry career. And we read that large crowds were following Jesus. He was popular. They knew who Jesus was. He was working miracles. He was providing food from just 5 loaves of bread and a few fish. And a lot of people were in the crowd following Jesus. But Jesus, in verse 2, realizes why they were coming. He realizes, why are these people even coming? So in verse 2 it says this, Jesus realizes why they were coming. In verse 2 it says that they were coming because of the miracles. They were coming because of the miracles. The main reason that the crowds were showing up was because of the spectacle. They didn't care as much about the teaching, about the life-changing lesson. They were there for a show. So why are you here? Because Because I don't know, Pastor. Well, I've been here a long time. That's why. Is it because you like the free food that Rick brings us? Is it because you think that the seats are comfortable? Is it because you really like the music? Is that why you're here? I mean, that's great, right? For a while, it's great to think that. But at some point, we need to define the relationship. So why are you here? In that passage, Jesus challenged the fans to a deeper, more intimate relationship with Him. And in verse 66, here is what we read. From this time, verse 66, chapter 6, jump all the way to the end there. It says, from this time, many of His disciples turned back and no longer followed Him. A lot of them went home because Jesus says, let's define what we've got here. And what we offered isn't what they wanted. What He offered isn't what the disciples wanted. And it may be time for some people to just go home. Because you come for a while and you understand things and you're coming in for more miracles, more for the show, more for what Jesus can do for you sort of attitude. That's a really common attitude. What can Jesus do for me? Not what I can do for Jesus. This is really common. It really is. We become consumers. Consumer Christianity. We become just take. And we love this, right? And so, as he wants to really there to be a point where you define the relationship. So why are you here? All right, that's the first question. The second question is this. Are you all in? Are you all in? Being a follower of Jesus requires complete commitment. A follower of Jesus will do whatever it takes to follow Jesus. Whatever it takes to follow Jesus. There's absolute, loyal, completely committed follower, right? Completely committed follower of Jesus. Whatever it is, your loyalty is to Jesus. So on the whole here, we don't do too well with absolute commitment, do we, sometimes? I think that we refer to selective commitment. Simply put, we customize Christianity. Oftentimes, we look at our relationships with Jesus and say, I'm going to follow Jesus, but I'm going to kind of pick and choose the areas in which I follow him. Isn't that interesting? I'm not preaching to you. I'm preaching to myself too. Okay, I don't want you to say that. You know, I really am, because I think we get caught in that. You know, we kind of pick and choose. Well, Jesus or God, I don't know. You know how I'm going to do with that. What do you think? You know, and so you say, well, I'll follow Jesus, but don't ask me to forgive the person that hurt me. I'm not going to let go of that resentment. I'm not going to let go of that bitterness. They deserve that. And I'll follow Jesus, but don't talk to me about my money. I work hard for that money. I'm a follower of Jesus, but that won't stop me from getting what I want. So it's this customized Christianity that says, well, I follow Jesus, but only in the areas that I am comfortable. Only in the areas that I agree with. I'm a Christian, but I'm not all in. Well, then guess what? You're not a follower. You're just a fan. I'm not really all in. There is not an option of selective commitment. It's not a possibility. There's no bargaining, no bartering, no finagling. When you decide to become a follower of Christ, you gotta go all in. And fans, they don't like the idea of going all in. They just stand on the sidelines and they just cheer. Right? I'm just a fan of some things. They're not wild about having to make sacrifices or about having to deny themselves of something that they deserve or crave. But if you've answered why you're here, then it will be pretty easy to figure out if you're all in. If you weren't here for the right reasons, chances are you're not going to be willing to go all in. So in defining the relationship of Jesus, we've asked, why are you here? Are you all in? And thirdly, this question. Have you made it your own? Have you made it your own? Many of us started going to church because of a parent. How many of you were brought to church by your mom or your dad? I was. My hands up. I don't know how many because mom made you go to church. Was your mom? Mine? Yeah. Surely. I see that there. Mom made you go to church. Dad said you had to. There wasn't an option. Like Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, every time those doors are open, you're there. Right? It didn't matter. So that was me. And so I tried to find the little things I could hide in the church. I got to know, matter of fact, I had a retainer growing up in 8th grade. And I used to go to church at Apple Valley. Apple Valley Church Nazarene. That's where I grew up, at that church. and we used to play hide and go seek, and underneath the pews, And one night my retainer fell out, and this was my 5th retainer. Okay, I'm not kidding you. I just lost retainers and then broke them, lost them, broke them, and I lost my retainer there. Well, anyways, it was found that next Sunday. It was cracked in half. So. All that, but I say all that to say is that I was one of those kids that, my parents encouraged church from the very, very beginning. And it became a part of my life. Now, I didn't know what it meant to be a follower of Jesus until I had that DTR talk. To define the relationship, right? I got saved at children's camp when I was 8 years old. I got saved. And I accepted Christ. I walked down from the upper levels in the balcony, and I walked down to the altar. And I actually remember as an 8-year-old kid, I felt like God's hand was just being pushed upon my back, like, kneel down, It was just this powerful moment. It was 8, okay? I just remember that so clearly. But I didn't know what it meant to be a follower of Jesus. It wasn't like I came down and I'm like, all right, now I got, I read my Bible every day, I do all that. I didn't know all that at the beginning. Spencer led us last week in the Word. Derek was the week before us. I had a couple weeks off. And I'm telling you, get ready. Because this series is going to challenge you. If it hasn't already, get your toes ready. I think we're getting stepped on a little bit, okay? So, but I'm just kidding. Maybe, I don't know. We're going to see what God's going to do here. But this morning, we are in week 1 of Not a Fan. Not a Fan is a series that was written by Kyle Eidelman. He's a pastor on the East Coast, and it's a rapid growing church. He wrote a couple other books that have kind of just come out. But Not a Fan has been a series that a lot of churches have been doing, and it challenges us to really look at defining what a fan is and what a follower of Jesus is. If you were in your small groups this week, you probably got just kind of a glimpse, and if you've already started reading the book, or continue to read, you will be challenged in different ways. As we get started, how many of you ran lemonade stands when you were kids? Lemonade stands. How many have a career in eating lemonade stands now? No? Okay. Well, I was over at the East one time, and they were doing a lemonade stand, and I'm not kidding you. I think Gavin or Hannah was doing the lemonade stand, and Lila was going through the house trying to find what he could sell. And so he found, Elijah's there a little, how old is he, like 4? Yeah. And he found these goat yogurts. And so he gets those out, he starts selling them, and not only that, he starts selling lizards. So he goes out and he gets lizards, and he's getting the goat yogurts, and Hannah's like working her deal down the road, and Elijah's working his deal, and Gavin's trying to figure out, okay, what else can I get, And so I don't know what they made out with that day, but it was quite funny. And so, but whose kid actually ends up going into the lemonade stand business? Right? Who ends up really kind of doing that? You've seen them before. Maybe your child's tried it one afternoon. But there really are professional lemonade stands out there, isn't there? You've seen them out on the streets, snow cones, they're selling all kinds of stuff. So logic would dictate that some kid somewhere ended up going into the lemonade stand business full time. And he wanted to try it one hot summer afternoon after seeing some of the other kids in his neighborhood doing it. Or maybe he saw one set up at the baseball park and thought, I could make a little on top of my allowance with this. I could really try this out. So he gets his dad to help him set up this little rickety stand, and he hand paints this sign that says, lemonade 50 cents. When I'm out garage sailing, man, I hit those lemonade stands hard. But, and after one successful day, this little boy, he tries it again, and again, and again, and he gets invited to bring his lemonade stand to the middle school baseball game. It was going so well. And so he guess what he does? He ups his price a little bit. he ups it a little bit to $2 a glass. $2 a glass. That's got to be some really good lemonade, some fresh squeeze. So pretty soon, he's got a lot of invitations to bring his lemonade stand to all kinds of events. He's getting really busy. He's taking his lemonade stand all over town. And yeah, he's making really a nice profit, isn't he? Sweet profit. But now things are a lot busier, a lot more professional. It's taken up a lot more time than he expected. He's got to make special orders on lemons. He's got to keep track of all of his expenses on a spreadsheet. And what started as a little hobby has become a time-consuming commitment. So in that moment, he has to make a choice. Is this going to become a kind of career for me? Is he going to hire a few employees to share the load? What will he choose? Some of you out there are thinking, maybe I should go into the lemonade stand business. Others are thinking, well, I wish my kid would do that. I don't even know how many kids know what a spreadsheet is out there. Maybe some of you do, I don't know. But whatever you're thinking, you understand that in that moment, there's a moment that we all have to make a decision. Is this a hobby or is this a career? Right? In that moment, is this a hobby or is this a career? Is this for fun or is it for something more than that? Am I trying this out or am I investing in this? These kind of moments are unique to the business world. I think really so much more common experiences lie really in the realm of these relationships. And so over the next several weeks, I want all of us to examine our relationships with Jesus. Is this a hobby? A career? Where are you at in this? Not that your relationship with Jesus is a career. I'm just trying to make a point, obviously. So now I get the fact that for some of you, this is kind of really maybe a first date. Or you're not sure exactly what to make of any of this at all. Well, then you can just kind of sit back and you can kind of just listen at this point. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not ready to really talk about your relationship with Jesus. But I think most of us in this room, and if you're in your small group, Kyle Eidelman introduced this term, and you probably know this term, called the DTR, called the Define the Relationship. When you're married or you're dating or whatever, you go through this moment where you got to define that relationship. What is this? Where are we going? Right? All those guys are like, oh man, yeah, I remember that conversation. Look where I'm at now, right? It's probably all good. So we need to define the relationship. We need to find out where we stand with Jesus. Where do we stand with Jesus? And as to look at really Christ's invitation, we'll be using a verse that clearly lays out what it means to be a follower of Christ. And it comes from Luke chapter 9, verse 23. And it reads this: if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. I think many of you welcome this DTR talk because you're ready to move to a different level of commitment. You're ready to move past the casual and past the convenient into something more devoted, something more committed. You're ready for this talk. Some of you are not, because you're kind of like, you're just setting up. You're setting up the stage with Jesus. I mean, really, Jesus is a nice guy, right? And you like church. It gives you something to do on the weekend, doesn't it? You kind of like what you have going. This idea of being more committed, this idea of taking it to a different level. You get a little anxious inside. You kind of look at, well, what is my relationship with Jesus look like right now? And how do I take that to the next level? I always had this guy who always told me, we're going to take it to the next level, Josh. I'm like, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? What is the next level? Are we going to the balcony or something? I don't know. What is this next level? So maybe you're even kind of going in this fight or flight response. But what we want to do is really define this relationship. So where do you stand with Jesus Christ? And so here's how I like to ask this question. Are you a fan or are you a follower of Jesus? Now some of you are wondering why I asked the question like that. We're all followers of Jesus, right? Okay. That's why we're here. So don't just jump to this answer too quickly. Hear me out a little bit. Let's talk about this. The word fan is defined as an enthusiastic admirer. We're all fans of different things, right? We're all fans of all kinds of different things. I'm like a big fan of football. I'm a fan of watching golf. I'm playing golf, I stink, obviously. So, seriously, I still can't quite get that game. But I'm a fan of certain things. I'm a fan of the Lakers. I love the Lakers. Right now, it's a little hard to be a fan of them. But I'm a fan. Many of us are sports fans. We watch the games. We cheer on the team. Some of us really maybe even own jerseys of our favorite players. We understand the concept of being a fan of sports. Now, my concern is that our church has the potential to very easily become a stadium full of fans of Jesus. And Jesus, he never cared about having fans, did he? He didn't like that. And if you define a fan as an enthusiastic admirer, then fans were not important to Jesus. Jesus didn't care for fans. He didn't like people just kind of cheering him on. He didn't like that. See, I think that we have a tendency to come together once a week and we're fans of Jesus. Okay? All right. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you.
And also with you.
And also with you. Hey, in order to get excited, tell the story of your faith and get people excited about church. Get people excited about God. Because that's how you do it. You tell what God did in your life, and it will be contagious. And before you know it, and I still see it every single this place. Okay? Let's do it. You are dismissed. God bless. Have a great week. I was a fan of Jesus. I was like, man, I was super excited. But then as I grew, I became more of a follower of Jesus. The more that I looked at that, the more that I matured and realized that being a follower of Jesus is so much more. It's so much more than just, you come to the altar, you make that decision, but it's so much more to that. And that's why we believe in holiness. It's so much more than just that initial commitment that you make, that it goes on further and further. And so we commit ourselves. We go all in. Maybe you came because they liked it when you came. Or maybe you came because your boyfriend or your girlfriend attended church. Alright? You came because of a girl. Yeah, that was me in youth group too. That's me. You come because it appeases those that really are pushing you to go to church. You're like, okay, well, all right, I'll go. I'm going to go. They're really pushing you. I'm tired of hearing it every week. And every time I run into that person at the grocery store, I'm like, why are you going to church? And you just come because of that. For those of us who grew up in the church or who attend church in order to appease a significant other or relative, it can be really easy to just become a fan. It's like riding in a car with someone who listens to a type of music that you're impartial to. Alright? They drive you to school or work every day, and every morning, it's Aerosmith. Every morning, Aerosmith is on. This is actually a personal story. So every morning, Aerosmith is on. It's like it's in the car. And I don't really care much for Aerosmith. I'm not a big fan. I don't hate them, but I don't really like them, you know. But it's fine to listen to. It's okay. But eventually, a few songs, they grow on you, right? When you're listening to Aerosmith, just a little bit. You can't really help but hum along this one. I don't want to miss a thing. Right? I love that. Yeah, I love that. Like, you know, I love it when that song comes on. You just want to jam out, you know? It's like, yeah. So you might say that you become really a fan of Aerosmith. That can happen to us in church. We keep coming to appease someone else, and pretty soon we get into the flow of things. We know most of the songs. We even recognize the stories or the teachings, and we're kind of these fans of Jesus. But that can be the most dangerous situation to be in. If your faith isn't your own, if you're not pursuing a relationship with Jesus, or you keep coming week after week and begin to create a faith that was someone else's in the first place, you're numbing yourself to the real thing. You are. It's not going to become your faith. It's going to become the person that has really pushed you to go. It's not, right? Then it becomes about you in that moment. And so this faith becomes numb. You become numb to the real faith. It's comfortable with a few songs and a few favorite verses, and none of which requires any sacrifice or personal change. That you have to make your faith your own. So Jesus isn't looking for a relationship between you, your mom, and your dad. He's looking for a relationship between you and Him. He's not looking, he's not worried about this little deal here. He's worried about you and Him in this moment, okay? In this message, that's what we're talking about. He's looking for a relationship with you. That may be one of the reasons that Jesus said these words in Luke chapter 14, verse 26. It says, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, his wife and children, his brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. That sounds a little ruthless. That's harsh. It's not about your mom and dad in this moment, okay? You need to get that out of the here. It's not about your mom and dad. It's about you and Jesus in this moment. That's what Jesus' point here is. It's about you and Jesus. So begin to search your heart these next few weeks, these next 6 weeks as we journey through Not a Fan, as we ask, are you a follower of Jesus, or are you just a fan? And we are going to dive into this. And Spencer, I want you to come, and we're going to close out with a song this morning. And I want you to stand with me, but as we stand up, go ahead, let's stand up. Now, we're not going to sing these songs because we're familiar with them or we know them from all these Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. Oh, I heard that song 4 weeks ago. Whatever it is, we come because it's about the relationship that you have with Jesus. It's not about the relationship that you have with this church building. It's not about the relationship that you have with the person next to you. Although God cares about that. But it's about the relationship that you have with Jesus. And so I challenge you, if you're not in a small group, get in one. Because that right there, that just takes it to another level. Right? That just takes your relationship. It challenges you to do something that you're not as comfortable doing. Alright? So, what do you think, Spence?
I had one, but we don't have it.
Let's see Jesus paid it all. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, let's do that. Let's see Jesus. I love Jesus paid it all. Because that's what it's all about. Realizing that our relationship is about a God and a Jesus who gave us everything. So in that moment, we give Him. Okay? May that be your prayer. May you not be a fan. Cheer God on. But you become a follower, a completely committed follower of Christ. Let's sing together, alright?
I hear the Savior say, thy strength is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thy calling call. 'Cause Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left the crimson stain, he washed it white.
We're going to sing that one more time, okay? But I feel like this is definitely one of those times where you're not coming to the altar to just maybe start a relationship with Jesus all over again. You're coming to the altar or you're saying to God, I don't want to be just a fan anymore. I want to be a follower of Jesus. I want to be completely committed. I want to be all in. I don't want my answer to just be because. So I challenge you, come. You know, we got people that will pray with you. Don't feel like, you know, that you're... I just want to tell a story. I was in a service this last week. Albert, he led a Spanish... He's a Spanish pastor in this church. He uses our sanctuary for an afternoon service. And I was helping him out with a youth service. At the end of that service, this place was packed. 250 teenagers. I'm like, literally, like, right here at this altar. And people just praying. And these are teens that live right here in San Diego. These are just lives that are being changed. And it's challenging. I was just moved. I was excited. So what I want to challenge you to do, I don't want anybody left out. I want everybody, Nicole back there, all right, and Rick back here, and Glenn. I know, man, you know, I want all of us to just kind of come. I want you guys to line the altar, and we're going to sing Jesus Paid It All, okay? Just come right here. Just come up to this point, okay? It could be everybody. If you can come, let's just come. Because the challenge is not to be fans, it is to be followers of Jesus. It's to be all in. Alright? We're all in. Let's sing it together. Go ahead, Spencer, lead us, man.
Up from the dead. Oh, praise the one who freed the dead and raised his life up from the dead. Oh, praise the one who paid my debt, raised his life up from the dead. Oh, praise the one who paid my debt, raised his life up from the dead. Oh, praise the one who paid my debt, raised his life up from the dead. 'Cause Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin has left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow.
Let's pray together. Dear God, I'm so grateful to see this church just transformed, God. I'm grateful. I know each one of these people have something to give to you today. It's just something specific, God, in their own life this day. Say, God, I want to be all in with you. I want to be completely committed to you, Father. It's not about me. As Jesus says, if I glorify myself, I take all the glory away from God. That we follow you with everything that we have, that we make no compromise, no complacency, that we're committed. In Jesus' name, all I ask you is Amen. Amen. I hope that you're ready to start this wonderful series with me again. let's put the benediction up there. Just last announcement, if you have alabaster boxes, just set them right here on the altar and we will pick them up after the service. If you've forgotten it, we will